Today, I want to speak about the consequences of distance in your relationship and how it is a slow burn and it doesn't happen overnight. So, what do I mean by this? I mean that you have two people who started off really hot and heavy, very passionate, very caring and loving with each other. And then after time, they began to spend time apart. The communication became less. The intimacy began to decrease. And all of a sudden, both people started to put the ME in team. So, why does this happen? This happens for a number of reasons, but one of the main reasons is that some people get too busy with their hobbies and their interests outside of the relationship. And then that creates an imbalance because now instead of dedicating, let's say, 8 hours of their free time to their relationship, they've now dedicated 2 out of that eight. And the six goes to other things. It may be friends, it may be things outside of the household, it may be things that have come up during the relationship that wasn't there before it. Now, you may think that this is okay because you want to have a healthy balance between you as the person and you as the couple. And that is perfectly fine. You want to make sure that you have interests that you can do on your own and you're not so dependent on your partner that it turns into codependency. But are you using those hobbies to escape something that is going on in a relationship? And that happens often because it shows up in a number of ways. One is you drown yourself in work. Instead of only doing 8 hours, you find yourself doing 10, 12, 14. And then after work, what do? Instead of going home, you try to find someone at your job to spend time with after work. So now your work routine is taking up the majority of your time. And the only time that you spend with this person is when you're sleeping because you're not intimate with them, you're just laying next to them. And this is why when some people decide to have work husbands or work wife, psychologically, what they're saying is that they're connecting with this person in a way that is outside of just employees. Because once you start to put a title on something, there's a certain behavior that has to earn that title. When you enter into a relationship with someone and you declare that person to be your boyfriend, your husband, your wife, or your girlfriend, there's certain behaviors that person has decided to do and you have decided to do that you both have come together to say that this is my person and I want the world to know. So if you're going to take that same title and bestow it upon someone at work, the question that the outside world is going to have is, what did that person do to earn that title? Or what did that person do for you to give that title to them? Because they may not have agreed to the title, you just have given it to them. Or they may have come up with the title themselves. So when it comes to distance, we have to be very careful because we don't see it happening a lot of times in the beginning. But when it hits the fan, that is when it becomes noticeable because the other person feels the impact. Now, you may ask, what is the impact to the person who is feeling the distance from the other person? The conversation becomes forced and a lot of times short. How are you doing today? Fine. What do you like to eat for dinner? Nothing. Do you want to plan something? Whatever it is you want to do. They don't offer any insight. They don't seem engaged or enthusiastic about having a conversation with you or even planning to have some time for you. The connection has decreased, not only on an emotional level, on an intellectual level. You can't have the same type of conversations anymore because this person can't be bothered. When you're both home, they're in another part of the house than you are. You're in the living room, they're in the bedroom. You're in the bedroom, they're in the kitchen. You're in the kitchen, they're outside. You're outside, they're there with their friends, to my earlier points. And then finally, the intimacy begins to decrease. Not only do they not want to spend time with you, speaking with you, they don't want to be intimate with you. Now, some people may ask, What does that mean? Does that mean that they're getting it somewhere else? Not necessarily. You may think they're getting it physically from somewhere else, but that's not how it usually begins, right? They're getting the intimacy on another level. And what is the first level of intimacy? Communication, emotions. It goes back to the point where you start to bestow a title that you have worked so hard to obtain with this person onto someone else, whether it's jokingly or not. So, this is why we have to be very careful in not letting distance on any level creep up in our relationship. Pay attention to any changes that is happening between the two of you. Speak about it, address it, because it is better to speak about any problems when they're in their infancy rather than when they're full grown adult problems where many times there isn't anything you can do to fix it.